Thank you, Bob. You were always last in my thoughts. We're here to celebrate Mr. Tony Rico. And of all the people I've ever met in Toastmasters, Tony is definitely one of them. He occasionally suffers from delusions of adequacy, but I've discovered that he actually has achieved the highest levels of mediocrity in all the speeches that I've ever heard. Now you hear of a lot of well wishers here tonight, Tony. We all wish you'd fall down a well. I'll never forget the first time I met Tony. I've been trying, but the therapy's not working. But I have had some influence on Tony, I can see, because he cut his hair to match mine. He's working on that. Tony always wanted to be tall, dark, and handsome, and he obviously struck out on the first one of those. But when it is dark, he can be handsome. So Tony's actually so short that his hair smells like feet. But when he's so short that when it rains, he's the last person to know. But Tony, when I first met him, I saw he had that faraway look. The further he got, the better he looked. Now, I didn't actually time this, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I thought it's appropriate for Tony because he's never timed any of his speeches. Yeah, I don't know how he goes over time when he can tell you everything he knows in about 10 seconds. So I don't get it. But Tony, when you talk to him, has an answer for everything. It's the wrong answer, but he does have an answer. Yeah. I actually was thinking of Tony today. I stopped by a copy store and I was trying to make some photocopies, and the machine just wasn't doing it. It was totally out of order. And the lady pointed out, she goes, "Well, it really doesn't work consistently. It's a Rico." I know Tony worked at Slater's 50/50. They said they would call it that because that was his work ratio. But Tony, I know that you're unique. I like the fact that you're yourself, although I think whoever told you to be yourself gave you really bad advice. But don't feel bad. A lot of people don't have talent, so don't worry about that. What I like about Tony is he's not obnoxious like other Englishmen. He's obnoxious in his own unique way. We get used to it. Now I asked myself in roasting Tony, what would Tony do in a roast? Now I've watched Tony give humor speeches, and I saw him give a roast before, so I know what he would do. He'd go on the internet and pull off all the old lame corny things he could find and read them off as the original. He'd say, "Are your parents siblings? After meeting you, I've decided I'm in favor of abortion in cases of incest." Pause for laughter. Did your parents have any children that lived? Doesn't know the meaning of the word fair, but then again, he doesn't know the meaning of most words. Don't you love nature despite what it did? He'd go down the whole list, and at the end, he would actually expect applause, but we all heard all this stuff. So Tony finds his speeches from old versions of Reader's Digest, Jurassic comedians from YouTube, and I've seen him give many speeches that way, and it seems to be the same ones over and over. But part of it's because Tony's not from here. Obviously, Tony's not from here. He's a complete outsider. And Tony, I'd like to know, as an outsider, what do you think of the human race? One thing about Tony is I can't tell which country he's from. He has simultaneously the worst British and the worst Aussie fake accent I've ever heard in my life. You hear Tony talk, and he's, oh, I say, old chap, could have put a shrimp on the barbie? Crikey! Doesn't make any sense to me. And they go with the fake accent. It's the fake job. One time I said, "Tony, what do you do?" This is no lie. I have witnesses here. He said, proudly, "I'm an occasional bartender." True story. Is that a job title? Is that a real thing? Occasional bartender. I can just see him being all suave, walking up to someone saying, "Hey, lady, Rico, Tony Rico, occasional bartender." That's impressive. I don't know. But I'm trying to figure out, he lives in San Diego, travels back and forth to Europe several times a year on an occasional bartender's wages. I don't think he lived on a regular bartending wages. So I'm trying to figure out what Tony really does, and I got a few theories. One is he's a secret agent. See, I think he's a secret agent because he really don't know where he's from. I think maybe he thinks he's one of the world's greatest lovers. So maybe James Bond type. And I'm wondering if maybe what he does is he is a secret agent that brings old Russian spies over to the United States, which is explain how young you got here. Makes sense to me. Maybe secretly a prince. I've got some of your emails and I'm not giving you my social security number. Maybe he's here to find a princess so he can usurp the throne in England. I don't know. Replace Prince Henry with Prince Shorty. I don't know. Probably not going to find it in San Diego. You may need to move to Queens. I did a little history on Tony, and I did find out that when he was born, his father said, we're suing the condom company, and his mother asked the doctors to pay special attention. They came back and said we did everything we could, but he pulled through anyway. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe he's here because his parents asked him to run away from home. And maybe the reason he's going back is because his village is missing their idiot. But Tony's going to have the last say tonight. I think, Tony, I make fun of the way you tell jokes, but you could toss out some of your funniest remarks. That's kind of what I think you should do with all your funny remarks, just toss them out. But I'd like to leave you with one thought, although it's probably one more than you can process. I actually like you. Of course, people say I have no taste, but that's probably why I like you. But I think you're a great guy. I think you're going to go far. And that's not a prediction, that's actually a request. We all signed the petition.